Gospel Reflections for the 23rd Sunday of Ordinary Time, Year A, 10th of September 2023. The Gospel text is from Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 to 20. The main focus of this Gospel reading is this: we have a responsibility to correct and bring back our erring brothers and sisters in the church to the right path. But love and reform should be the sole motive for doing it, and not revenge or jealousy. In brief, the main theme is the necessity and methods of fraternal corrections within the church. Today's gospel speaks about the attitude and concern of Christians towards their community members who have sinned against them. In the church, all the members have a responsibility to correct wrongdoers, even if their offense is not personally against them. Jesus gives a three-stage approach to regain, technically means to convert, an erring member in the Christian community in today's Gospel, chapter 18, verse 15. The first stage consists of pointing out the fault of the erring brother or sister privately when nobody else is present. The second stage consists of pointing out the wrongdoing with the help of 2 or 3 witnesses. Since, according to the Old Testament, Deuteronomy chapter 19 verse 15, a charge is sustained only with the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. And the third stage consists of reporting the matter to the church or community only when he or she refuses to listen even to the witnesses. This is mentioned in verse 17. If a member refuses to listen to the church also, he or she should be treated as Israelites would treat a Gentile and tax collector. Since both these groups, namely Gentiles and tax collectors, were excluded from the mainstream of Judaism, the implication is that such offenders should be excluded or excommunicated from the community. According to the spirit of this text, this type of drastic step is to be taken only in serious matters when the welfare or spiritual well-being of the whole community is at stake, and when first 2 steps become fruitless or futile. After all, these steps are to be taken as medicinal, aimed at bringing back the offender to the right path, and not out of envy or jealousy or revenge. They are to be taken out of love and concern for the good of the individual as well as the whole Christian community. We notice in our modern world, there is a tendency to emphasize more and more on individual rights and freedom than collective responsibility for human society or community. Whenever there are personal or group conflicts, people prefer to walk away or break off from relationships and mutual bonds so quickly rather than trying for reconciliation through dialogue. In contrast to this mentality, in today's gospel, Jesus advocates the principle of collective responsibility to bring back the erring members of our community through fraternal corrections. But with what motive or intention? With what motive or intention? The only motive of correcting the errant members of our community should be fraternal love and concern for their and the community's good, or to win them back to the community, and not revenge or retaliation. Today's gospel motivates us to examine how serious are we about our collective or common responsibility to correct those who have gone astray in our families, neighborhood, priestly fraternity, religious communities, and the church. And how or in what way we do it. It is clear that in Christian families, parents have a responsibility to correct their children when they do something wrong or go astray. Similarly, husbands and wives also have the same responsibility towards each other's temporal and spiritual welfare. If friendship between two persons among the youth is really genuine, once again, if friendship between two persons among the youth is really genuine, they have an obligation to correct one's friend when he or she goes astray. Priests and religious are called to feel responsible for the reform of not only lay people but also their own fellow priests, members of their own religious communities, especially those members who have drifted away from the path chosen by them. Frankly speaking, shouldering this responsibility is tough, embarrassing, demanding, and risky. Some of our fears for not venturing into such a task seem to be realistic. Fears of displeasing, hurting, facing a hostile reaction, revenge, backlash, entering into a quarrel, straining or breakage of relationship, facing difficulties in working, living together, and getting cooperation or favors from co-workers who are wrongdoers, losing a promotion or getting fired, etc. These fears often prevent us from correcting our own family, community members, friends, colleagues, etc. Our worst fear comes sometimes from the need to correct our own parents, elders, seniors, superiors, leaders, and heads of institutions within the Christian families and the church. Who wants to get one's fingers burnt? Who wants to get one's fingers burnt? Out of fear, we often try to dodge this responsibility by saying, "What is there for me? I'm okay. Let the wrongdoers answer to God." Or let the heads or superiors see to it. Most often, we are mortally afraid of correcting such persons, especially if we are their subjects or subordinates, due to the possibility of negative consequences for ourselves and others. Therefore, a person who ventures into this sort of fraternal corrections needs to possess the following virtues strongly: a real or genuine love for the offenders, a genuine or real love for the offenders, a lot of courage to approach them, repeated prayer for God's grace to get courage and wisdom to do so, personal humility while doing so, and an ability to correct them in the right manner with the right words. Since many of us lack courage to do this, what we do normally is to gossip behind their back, sometimes with the intention of putting them down or teaching them a lesson. This is like punishing them in their absence and allowing them to remain in their faults, wrongdoings, and offenses. What good are we doing? Another tough question needs to be addressed to ourselves. Do we, who are put in charge of correcting others, want to be corrected by them? Do we say, "Who are you?" even when they correct us politely and privately? By following the first step given by Jesus in today's gospel. A prayer. Lord, fill us with love and genuine concern for the reform of strayed members of our family and community so that we can rejoice over their return. Amen.